What is going on, fight fans? We are back here for another fight night, another Saturday night for our week, and we have UFC 304 that I'm going to be reacting to the fights that believe that were the most important fights. Obviously, the main card, and obviously the fight that just barely missed the main card. Excuse me, not barely. It was kicked out of the main card, then moved to the prelim headliner, then moved to the early prelims, to then the prelim opener. Manel Cap and Muhammad Makayev had a lot of bad blood coming into this fight. At the weigh-ins, they couldn't separate these guys. Putting them in the cage, you had to have multiple security inside of the cage, so that way these guys couldn't rip their heads off. And then, of course, you go back to the backstory of Makayev having a fan, or he was coming up to Manel Cap, and he was supposedly trying to take a picture with him and just put it all besides them for, their Muslims or original religious beliefs that they both have. And, of course, the previous encounter that they had at the UFC gym where Manel Cap pretty much allegedly beat the shit out of Muhammad Makayev. And then you go into this fight and you see how they just ended up being a real stale and boring fight. They're pretty much just staring at each other. Makayev was the much busier fighter overall. Manel Cap had his moments here and there during the fight, but man, what a huge. I mean, you expected a lot out of this fight between these two guys because again, just of the bad blood that these guys built up, and it was like you were thinking like, why did they move this off the main card? And then it was just a huge letdown. Then that moves into the fight between Arnold Allen and Gigajadzi. It started off really good for Giga. His right kick, his right leg, and right kicks that he was having was really great off. He started off really good in the first round. He started to set a really good pace for himself, especially in that first round, because he was just moving around a lot, making himself a moving target, making it really hard for Arnold Allen to track him down and move around. So I thought he won that first round. And then into the second round, it was pretty much the same thing overall between these two. But then Arnold Allen started to land those heavy shots that he had. Giga damn near landed a flying knee in the first, and then obviously you see on the screen he landed that front kick to the face of Giga. But he started landing some power shots, especially with his left hand. Started to hurt Giga, started to slow him down. And then the third, he really started to slow Giga down, really started to put on a pace, really started to bring that pressure to him. And I think he overall won the fight 2-1. Then we bring the fight, or the next fight up the card on the main card was Gregory Rodriguez and Christian Leroy Duncan. One thing I will say is that I give a lot of credit to Christian Leroy Duncan because I think even though he was the odds-on favorite, it was a complete mismatch with him. Very flashy and fancy with his technique and the work that he has, obviously with him being a great striker, but he made it as competitive as he could. Especially with the grappling and on the ground, he wasn't going to be any type of better with against Gregory Rodriguez. But he at least made it, to where it was competitive and it wasn't a complete domination. But Gregory Rodriguez showed that he should get a ranking, or he should get a ranking opponent. Next, I think number 15 is Chris Curtis. That would be a really good fight against him. I mean, the power that this guy has on the stand-up and the grappling technique that this guy has, he's just a monster on both sides. And I really want to see him get a ranked opponent next. And then next we move into the feature fight, which was Patty the Batty Pimblett going against King, formerly known as Bobby Green. I mean, it started off pretty slow on the feet, pretty much just trading leg kicks and oblique kicks, just here and there, nothing crazy, nothing really fancy by none of these guys, no really power shots at all. And then for some odd reason, man, I mean, maybe the knockouts have been starting to get to King Green or Bobby Green or whatever the case may be. And, his IQ points and his brain had stopped working, but he shot a takedown against a grappler. Dude, your advantages is you on the stand up. Why are you trying to take Patty the Batty down? Yeah, you challenged him with your grappling and all that other stuff, but your bread and butter is on the feet, brother. I don't know what your thought was trying to go to the ground with this guy. Obviously gets into a bad position. As soon as he tries to take him down, gets put into a guillotine. Looks really bad for him. then gets put into a triangle. Obviously, the triangle with the arm bar, as you see on your screen, and gets put to sleep. Impressive by Patty the Batty. I'm really impressed by him showing his grappling prowess, and how much he's grown and shown with his grappling. Obviously, now he's ranked in his division, which is what 155, which is lightweight, or 145 featherweight. I mean, honestly, man, I want to see a lot more out of Patty the Batty, and obviously a lot more ranked opponents. A really good matchup with him and Moneyboy Kano is definitely something that I'm definitely interested in watching. And now on to the co-main event. We had Tom Aspinall going against Curtis Razor Blades, and dude, huge, huge knockout, huge redemption in the first minute for Tom Aspinall. I expected a pretty short night. Actually, I predicted and expected Curtis Blades to do a lot more. A lot of people online had a lot of qualms about it being a early stoppage, but I mean, he got hit in the head on the ground with like 13, 14 unanswered shots. Maybe you can say that it is, especially being in a championship fight, but I have no real issue with it. I mean, and he gets his redemption, he gets his revenge against Curtis Blades, redeems that loss that he has in his record, even though that loss is pretty much just him getting injured in that fight, so it kind of doesn't really count. But at the end of the day, a loss is a loss, I guess. He is considered the interim heavyweight champion, but everybody knows him, especially as the people's heavyweight champion. He's been defending his title, even if as the interim, quote unquote, heavyweight champion. And a lot of people want to see him go against Jon Jones. I want to see him go against Jon Jones. It's pretty already known what's going to happen between him and Stipe Miocic. Speaking about Jon, it's just a fight, I guess, for a name, for his record, and I guess for his legacy. It doesn't really like mean anything, especially as of right now, and how the division looks and how Tom Aspinall looks as of right now. He definitely needs that shot and chance for the undisputed championship at the heavyweight division. His power is unreal. I mean, he just touched him at the top of his temple and just put him down with that nasty right hand. And I mean, Tom Aspinall, man, is just on another level and is streaking hot right now. Now we move on to the main event, which was Leon Edwards against Belal. Remember the name, Muhammad. And honestly, this was very surprising on my end. Of course, if you watch my prediction video, I had Leon going in there and knocking this dude out. I mean, he looked phenomenal, especially in that first fight that they had against each other. And dude, just Belal made this fight look a lot easier than what it was. Getting takedowns, especially in the first round. I think he won the first round, in my opinion. He looked the better out of the two, in my opinion. Even though Leon, in the middle of the round, started to turn the tide, especially after getting that first takedown. He didn't really take a lot of damage. But he did get up. He started to do his thing with the striking. But Belal also did have his moments as well with the striking, which was quite impressive to see because he's not really known for his striking. Then gets another takedown, moves into the second round, and then Belal gets another easy takedown, pretty much takes control of the round. Then you move into the third round, and Belal gets another takedown, but Leon reverses position, and he takes the back, and he has the position for the entire round. Move into the fourth round, they do a little stand-up here and there, and it just looks like the pace is getting to Leon. The way of Belal fighting is just continuing on this pressure, not wavering under anything, not really caring about anything come his way. He's just determined and moving straight forward to his opponent. I mean, it was very, very impressive to see Belal, the way that he was fighting, really getting the takedowns pretty easily, getting the back and really having control of most of the rounds. And then moving into the fifth round, they stood up a bit. Leon had his moments a little bit early, but then Belal started to take over with his striking as well. Again, very impressive in my opinion. I already said that 3 times, I know. And while he was doing that, he started to mix in his takedowns, started making Leon really, really wary about what was really coming next. He really didn't know if it was going to be a takedown or another strike. Didn't really know what to defend. Was really getting pushed to the fence way too many times, and gets another takedown, controls most of the round, but then Leon late in the round gets to reverse the position, gets some nasty elbows, cuts Belal wide open, has moments to be able to somehow pull off a win, but it was a little too late and a little, not enough, man. It was just not enough out of Leon. I think honestly, while Belal was very impressive, and you do have to give a lot of credit to Belal, it was just a disappointing night for Leon. I thought Leon. I'm not gonna say that. I would say it was more half and half of Leon lost his fight and Belal won it. Belal did look very, very good. He looked like he was ready and prepared for this fight. He was ready to be able to take the claim of the throne of the welterweight division. And Leon Edwards just looked to just the pace. He just crumbled to the pace and the pressure of just having Belal in his face the entire fight, not really being able to push him back with the striking at all. Even though he did look kind of impressive with the grappling, being able to reverse positions, and he was having success actually reversing a lot of positions while Belal was taking control of most rounds. Leon was able to again reverse and get on top and have moments of control off of his own with the grappling. But it was too late. It was too late at the end of the rounds. He couldn't really mount up any type of offense that he really wanted to able to do, especially in this fight. And honestly, it was just very disappointing showing for Leon Edwards. He could have done a lot better. He could have done a lot more, but he didn't. And Belal was able to win the fight, unfortunately. And while it may have been boring to a lot of people, I thought it was kind of boring, but it is what it is. You kind of expect that fight when you get, those type of fights when you watch Belal Muhammad, who's very grappling base heavy. But his striking was very, very effective and was very good. He had some power on his shots, very sneaky uppercuts, really good jab, was landing a lot of 1-2s. And Leon's defense was just not there at all. He looked very bewildered. He looked like he was expecting the same Belal that he was going to get in the first fight. And once he noticed that he wasn't getting that same Belal, he looked like he just took him for granted. He just looked at him as another opponent and didn't take him as serious as he needed to be. And this is what happens when you let off the gas and you take it easy on the chances that you have, and you really don't press when you're needed to be pressed. Leon got a lot of good instruction from his corner. Again, he was down 3-1, and you kind of just expected another headshot dead moment, or so I did. He pulled it off once. Maybe he could have pulled it off again. He almost damn near did in the end of that fifth round. But a rematch in the play, maybe. He did have a couple of defenses of his title, and I wouldn't mind seeing a trilogy of these two getting it in, maybe a more prepared, a more better, well-suited Leon, or maybe this is just a case of this is just a terrible matchup for Leon, and Belal's just the kryptonite for Leon Edwards, and for other fighters, this is probably feasting or waiting to be able to get this championship fight against Belal, because while his striking has improved and while his striking does look pretty impressive and the pace that he does press in and he does come in and pressure you very heavy and is really good with his grappling, he really is good with his takedowns. He really is good with his wrestling and control. But in terms of submissions and trying to be able to use his BJJ is not really that impressive. He's more just looking for control. And if you're able to negate that, which Leon wasn't in this fight, if we have somebody like a Shavkat, we have somebody maybe like a JDM, we have somebody maybe like potentially a Kamaru Usman, even though he is coming off a loss, but he's still ranked number 1 in the welterweight division. There's a couple of fights that are maybe good to be able to see. I want to see Shavkat fight one more time to be able to go and contend for a title. Same thing with JDM. So I wouldn't be mad as looking at a Leon Edwards trilogy fight, hopefully with him in better preparation against Belal Muhammad. You can call me a hater of Belal, but then again, who hates on Belal Muhammad nowadays is pretty much everybody, because he's pretty trash, even though he's the champion. Anyways, like this video if you like this video, I guess. If you like this winners of tonight for the UFC 304 card, what would you rate it? I wasn't able to watch the entire card, but from watching the main card, it was pretty entertaining. You got the Patty the Batty submission. You got the Aspinall knockout. You got a good showing from Gregory Rodriguez. You got a good fight, pretty good fight between Arnold Allen and Gigajadzi. Was a little closer than I thought it should have been. You got a huge letdown with Manel Cap and Muhammad Makayev, but it seems to be that Muhammad Makayev is going to be cut, so his trash ass is going to be gone from the UFC. I mean, that's what you get when you stink it up, brother. You change up your fighting style, man, because it's not working out for you. And Belal Muhammad is the new crowned welterweight king in his division. And that's it for me, man. Comment any opinions that you have. Comment any hate that you have, or any opinions or any vitriol that you want to give off for whether it be Leon, Belal, or anybody else that fought on this card. Subscribe if you want to be able to watch much more of this content that I'm going to be pushing out for you guys. You already know that I got you every single Saturday night, every fight night. We're going to be here. We're going to be reviewing. We're going to be reacting. And yeah, thank you guys for watching again, and peace.